guys, so I thought I'd do a bit of a sort of chatty video today, just because I got good, I think, at teaching my kids stuff when they were sort of going through the toddler phase, and I thought, well, before I forget about all the stuff I did, I'm just gonna have a little yak. Now, I should do a disclaimer just to start off. I am of the opinion that as long as your kids are loved, fed, healthy, safe, happy, that's the main thing. You know, the main thing is not teaching them their letters and numbers and, you know, whose kid's reading before whose kid, and as long as all those bases are covered, then yay, you're doing an awesome job. Basically, the reason I started doing all this stuff with my eldest daughter, Olivia, she's now 9, is because she pretty much shot out of the womb with a pad and pencil ready to learn. She was so onto it, I found it hard to keep up with her. So I ended up having to devise all these things to teach her because she was just so keen to learn. Now, anyone who's watched my videos will know I've got 3 kids and they're all totally different from each other. So different things work with different kids. Olivia was reading when she turned 3. She was actually reading, which a lot of people said to me, oh, how could you push her into doing that? But as I said, I didn't. I just went with it. I'll just do a wee side note as well. It's school holidays at the moment and I can't be naffed clearing this table. It's going to get worse over the course of the school holidays. I guarantee you it. There's colouring, there's arts and crafts. You don't want to see the rest of the table. This is the best bit. Anyway, just keeping it real. I'll just give you a few examples of some of the stuff that I did, and hopefully it'll just help to give some people ideas, especially stay-at-home mums. I know it can do your head in a bit being at home with the kids. The real key is to get the letters, the numbers and things in front of them as much as you can. You need it to be fun for them, because if they're not having fun, they're not going to want to do it. And if they don't want to do it, they're not going to learn anything. So you've got to turn it into games. You've got to come up with as many games as you can incorporating the letters and the numbers that you're wanting to teach them. I got all these numbers and I wrote them down on either, I got some little pieces of cardboard and later on I turned them into bigger pieces of paper and I stuck them with blue tack down the hallway. And every time we went down the hallway we'd count the numbers. Now, we also used to have some puzzles that had farmyard animals. Very rarely they actually got used as puzzles because Olivia especially, she used to love it when I'd get all the farmyard animals and I'd put them at one end of the hallway and the cow would want to go and count. And so the cow would walk down the hallway going moo 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 1, moo 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 2, moo 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 moo, and then it'd get stuck and the cow would look at Olivia and Olivia would go 3 and so on. And we'd do it over with each animal and it got monotonous for me, but she picked up on it and she loved those sorts of games. I mean, of course you can put them on the floor, you can jump on the numbers, jump on the number, 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 3, 4, knock at the door. Even just every time you're going down the hallway, you jump on the numbers and say them as you're going down. And it's just repetitive. We had this little plastic slide where it was a horrible looking thing to have in a lounge, but we had it in the lounge. It was a sanity saver during winter, you see. But it was just this little toddler's slide. I'd get these little cardboard numbers and I'd hold them at the top of the slide and I'd say, oh, what's this number? And it's 1, and the 1 would go down the slide, wee bop, yay! What's this one? 2, 2 would go down the slide, wee bop. And she loved that one as well. So, it's just simple little things that playing games with the numbers. Another great thing was the plank. Clint had this big long plank of wood in the shed. And I said to him one day, are you using that? And he said, no, not really. And so I got a Vivid and I wrote all the numbers that she knew. I think we were working our way up to 15 at the time. So I wrote all the numbers on it from 1 to 15, about sort of, a little person's foot length apart. And I brought that plank into the lounge and she thought that was great. She'd walk on the plank and practicing her balancing skills, see what number she can walk up to before she falls off. It was about, it wasn't hard for her to balance on it. But she'd count the numbers as she walked along. And then if she got really good at that, then eventually she could start walking backwards. And I'll tell you what, that plank, that was a bit of a game changer. That got used for so many things. We ended up propping it up and wheeling cars down it and all sorts. When the Olympics came on TV, it became a gymnast beam, and we'd put it up on some little chairs and they'd play it walking back and forth. And, you know, whether or not they knew it, as they were looking at the plank, they were looking at the numbers, you know, so it's all just getting it into their head. Now, another good thing with the plank was the little numbers that we had on the hallway. I'd take them all down, bring them into the lounge and put them all randomly out on the floor and put the plank down, have the numbers from 1 to 15, whatever it is, mix them all up, and I'd get her to match the numbers on there and put them with their corresponding number on the plank. It didn't have to be, she didn't have to do it in order, as long as they ended up in order. But that's another good thing, just, you know, picking out what's that number. It's 12. So I guess that got her thinking about what the number was without having to say it in order. Because often they can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but then do they know what number 4 looks like, or do they just know because it's in that order? So that was another good thing that got her thinking, and I could keep her entertained with that for a while I went and did something, and then she'd call me all triumphant when she'd got them all lined up. And I mean, of course, once you'd done that, then she could put them back up in order on the hallway again. Dice. Now, I wouldn't trust a toddler with a tiny little dice, because it'd either get eaten or lost. But we made a cardboard dice. I just got a big box, chopped it up into 6 pieces and just, you know, it wasn't flash, but taped it together and with a vivid drew all the dots on. And we played quite a few games with that. You know, you could throw it up and whatever number it lands on, that's how many times you have to jump in the hoops, or you have to run to that number and touch it on the hallway. And so it gets them actually counting the dots on the dice and recognising what the numbers on the dice look like. And I mean, you could even put the numbers around the lounge or something, roll the dice, what number does the dice land on, find that number on the floor. Now also, when I was hanging the washing out, we got rather distracted with pegs. Pegs can be a great thing, especially if you got lots of multicoloured ones. Sort them all into different colour piles. How many pegs have we got of each colour? You can also make shapes with pegs. Of course, you can make a nice, either a big square or a smaller square. How many sides does that shape have? You know, square, triangle, all that sort of thing. Even make a big circle. How many corners does the circle have? No. How many pegs did we use to make that circle? It'll be evident from my videos. I do a lot of cooking and baking and stuff with the kids. That's brilliant for counting skills as well. You know, you have to count how many cups of flour, how many eggs do we use, how many of this. You know, if getting a bit more advanced, if we need 4 cups and there's 2 of us, how many cups do we put in each? That's probably a bit beyond toddler phase, but you know, you get the idea. With food, I mean, when you're eating the food, how many carrot sticks are on your plate? If you eat 1 carrot stick, then how many will be left? Could be a way to get them to eat the carrot sticks too. But I mean, you know, slices of cheese, whatever. You know, how many are on your plate? And if you eat 1, then how many is going to be left? Let's try it, let's count it. Now, when it comes to letters, books, lots of books. My kids have always been obsessed with books, either being read them or when they develop reading skills, you know, they love reading them themselves. Sam and Olivia are just absolute bookworms. I take them to the library and that's them. They'll just sit down and read all day if I were going to let them sit down and read all day and do nothing else. Seriously, they would though. As I say, Olivia was reading from a really early age. Sam didn't start reading until she started school, but she knew all the letters and she knew what noise each of those letters made. So I'd got her a really good base. So when she did see all the other kids in her class starting to read, she was onto it real quick. So that was neat to see. Now, I mean, Aston, he's 4.5 and he knows the letters, he knows what sound they make, and if he is in the right mood, he can read like 2-letter words, is, it, and, that sort of thing. But he has to be in the right mood. You know, I know when I can tackle him with that sort of thing and when I can't. When they're really little, things like ABC books, You know, A says A for apple, B says B for book, C says K for cat. I was very big on doing that whole, this is what the letter is and this is what the letter says. D says D, E says E. You know, that's the way I always taught them, and that seemed to really work for them. Singing the alphabet, they love singing the alphabet. I'm not going to do a rendition, I'm not going to sing to you now, sorry. Of course we did the same thing with letters as we did with numbers, sticking them all down the hallway. Half the game is actually setting the letters up. You know, it's up to you whether you set them all up for them, or if they've got a grasp of what the alphabet is, you know, what letter goes first. A, let's find A. What does A say? A says A. Let's put A. That goes first. Now, can we find B? B. What does B look like? You know, so that in itself is a game. Unfortunately, the letters and numbers down the hallway, they were brilliant with my girls. Not so much Aston. Aston is a boy, and he wouldn't tolerate them. He'd just rip them down. Rip them all down, put them into the back of a toy truck, hoon them off and go take the truck to the mechanic and get it fixed. So that didn't really work for Aston. But Aston does love books, and he loves me going through books, and he will tolerate me sort of, you know, pointing at letters and telling them what they are and that sort of thing. So the cardboard cutouts didn't work for him. So, you know, it's just finding other ways. If you make like the cardboard dice idea, of course you can incorporate that into the letters, roll the dice. If it lands on a 5, what's that? A, B, C, D, E. So, you know, you jump 5 letters and you land on E. What does E say? E. Roll the dice again, you know. 3 more letters. H says H. You know, so that's another good way of incorporating that if they're willing to play in that sort of way. Now, I have heard somewhere as well that any games you can do, I mean, even something like Pass the Parcel, if you can incorporate left to right motions, because that's how you write on a page, apparently that, you know, gets the left side and the right side of the brain going. I'm not an expert, I'm just saying what I've heard. But yeah, apparently that can actually be really good for kids when they're learning to write. Now, when it comes to, of course, writing is, you know, finger stuff, it's your fine motor skills. So, I mean, colouring in is great for that, just getting them to hold the pencil properly, you know, as opposed to holding it like that and scribbling. Just getting them to hold the pencil. Generally, once they've got the hang of that, they're away, they're pretty good with it. But yeah, it's just getting the idea of doing that. And yeah, I mean, colouring in, that's a brilliant thing for your fine motor skills and future writing skills. One thing I did as well with Olivia, before she could write, I suspected that she could probably spell her name, so I actually got all the letters of her name, put them on little post-it notes, scrambled them up on the floor and said, right, can you make your name? And she did it. I got her to, she stuck them up, she sounded it, and you know, got all the letters of her name in order. So that's a good wee trick to just sort of get them in the swing of, you know, what letters are in their name. What I mentioned with the slide, do that with letters as well as with numbers. A says A, wee bump. B says B, wee bump. And they might even end up playing their own game with it. Those letters and numbers that I cut out often ended up getting taken off the wall, put in a big pile, and, you know, shipped from, it was used as currency. Oh, shopkeepers. This game drove me nuts. It drove me up the wall because she wanted to play it constantly. And we'd use these pieces of cardboard as money. And she'd gather some stuff for her shop, you know, some books and toys and stuff. And I'd come along and sometimes I'd be the shopkeeper and sometimes I'd be the customer. But, you know, and the shopkeeper has to say how much money you have to pay and hand over that many pieces of cardboard, and we'll count, make sure we got the right number of cards. All right, thank you very much. Right, have a nice day, go away with my things. And then, of course, I'd have to go and buy something else. And at the end of the day, she'd have to count how much money she'd made that day. And, you know, it really is just getting down on the ground, getting down there, playing with them, reading to them, spending time with them. Please leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear what other games or ideas you've got for, you know, for young kids, preschoolers. Obviously people are watching this video to know about teaching preschoolers stuff, so you know, if they want to scroll down the comments and see your comment, then awesome. Just have fun with them, because oh my goodness, they are little for such a short length of time, and in the grand scheme of things, mine still are little, and I'm absolutely relishing every little moment I can with them, and that's one of the reasons I still haven't gone back to a full-time job or anything, because yeah, they're just, I'm not going to come to the end of my life and think I wish I'd worked more. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, and yeah, bye.